Hi friends, this is Sarah from Crafting and Relaxing. Welcome, I'm so glad you've joined me today. Be sure to subscribe. This is the second in the card making series for templates for card beginners. I'll link to the video below and I won't go into as much detail today. Last time we made cards that looked like this. Today we're going to use the exact same measurements. So I have the same piece of paper, but what we're going to do is we're going to turn this. So today we're going to make horizontal cards, which means they would be top folding. They could be side folding, but we're going to make horizontal cards. We're going to use the same exact measurements. And in fact, I'm going to use the same paper, Splendor. As I go through this, I'm going to share different tips in the videos. So if you want to make cards in batches, you will also be learning how to batch these really easily. That's why I like simple templates, and you'll see. For example, to make these cards, I've cut my paper a certain way, and I will keep making vertical cards, up and down cards, using these pieces of paper because they're cut properly. Let me show you. The cuckoo clock, it's already cut to be vertical strips. If I try and switch it, I'm losing a bunch of paper and it doesn't work as well. So let me show you. I'm going to take my 6-inch. I use 6-inch paper pads. You can use whatever you want. If you don't use 6x6s, just cut your paper to these shapes. Don't worry about the sequence or order that I cut my paper in because it's not relevant to you. So if you're using 12x12 or something like that, cut your paper in these. But keep in mind, the goal when you're cutting up your paper is you want to have the largest pieces of scraps left. So try and avoid excess numbers of cuts. For example, I know I want to make cards with this paper. This one's not directional, so it doesn't matter at all, but I'll show you on a different one. So the first thing I'm going to do is, because I want my strips to be 5 inches long, first I'm going to cut it down to 5 inches. Okay, now I can cut all my strips out of this and they'll all work. Had I made my first cut at 2.5, I would end up with this piece of paper would be a bunch of little chunks, and I don't want that. I want the longest strip that I can have for card making. I'm going to just cut my papers real quick and not tell you the measurements every time because you can go back to the other video and we do have a cheat sheet. And if you cut them wrong, or the wrong size, remember, I didn't give you measurements because I think you actually need to follow them. I gave you measurements so that you would feel comfortable and be creative, but not so that you have to stick with them. Okay, this is a directional paper. If you're learning to make cards, directional papers are going to be a little harder at first, and if they go badly, just adapt. If you don't cut it the right way, just make a card with whatever you did cut. On this one, when I cut it to 5 inches, I'm going to cut the strip off the side because all of my strips need to go up and down this way. So I'm going to cut it to 5. I stopped because I thought I messed up, but I didn't mess up. When you're using directional papers, like I was saying, but I was talking and doing too many things, you have to stop and think about it. If I'm going to turn this card sideways, right, I don't want my cuckoo clocks to be sideways. That's important, right? We want them to be right side up. So I have my paper, so it's 5 inches across. Now I'm going to take a 2.5-inch strip, just like this. And I'm going to use the big one because I want my cuckoo clocks to be centered. So I'm going to, or right side up and to show. So I'm going to look at this and I'm going to see if I cut it right here, will I have, I'm going to zoom you in so you can see, will I have cuckoo clocks that look right? This is really more important with animals, right? You don't want to cut off all their heads. You want to look at it and see. If I cut it right here, I'll have this row of cuckoo clocks and this one that shows. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. 2.5, and there's my strip. Oops. I forgot to cut us more bases, so you have to watch this part again too. Again, these are my base layers, and I cut them to 5 1/4 by 4, and I just use the least expensive piece of paper that I have that's in a color palette that I like. the funny thing is, I thought I got out pink, but I don't know where it is, but that's not the point. We'll use this. Now, we're going to put our cuckoo clocks like this, and our dots right here. Same card, but a very different look. And it sets you up for different things because you can come in with a larger flag. I'm going to zoom you. Oh, sorry, out of frame. You can come in with a larger flag. I also like to rotate my cards. I'm grabbing dies off the wall. I'm going to put it backwards so you can see what I've got going on. But if you have happy birthday and it's too wide, or you have a great big flower that you want to use and you still want room to say hello next to it, you might want to go this way. If I want it to go like connected here and I want a paper flag and I might want it on the horizontal one. Let me fix you. Or I could go here and put it underneath, but it won't be connected. It probably won't have as much of an impact. It's a little more understated style. Just depends on the size of your embellishments and your die cuts. If your happy birthday is too big and it doesn't work well this way, you know, like if it's kind of sticking to the edge and you don't like it, then you're going to want to make horizontal cards. Or maybe you made 20 vertical cards yesterday. It could be on Tuesdays you make them one way and on Wednesdays you make them another. There's not right or wrong. I'm showing these where I'm going to assemble this and I'm going to take something like this and put it over the top. Or we could use a completely different paper. We could take a strip of this. If you like more patterns, go for it and put a strip of that. But you can use ribbon just as well. If you have a giant stash of ribbon, try and bring ribbon into your cards because it adds texture. So take a piece of ribbon and run it across there. Wrap it behind this and tape it on. You can put dots of glue or you can put little glue dots, however you want to attach it. That's why I tell you, don't attach this piece of paper to your card base, because if you want to wrap ribbon around it, it's super easy. I'm going to turn the camera off for a minute and assemble some stuff. So you can see I have my large piece of paper here. I have my smaller polka dots. I put my strip across. You can make your strip go all the way to the edge if you want. It's complete personal style or based on how long the piece of paper itself is. Then I'm going to show you, I'm going to take this piece of ribbon, and I did put the ribbon over before the paper was on there, but it was a little sheer and it just adds more interest this way. So I put the paper down, I'm going to put the ribbon over it, and I'll show you. We'll just use a piece of this masking tape that I don't know why, but it's on my counter, so we're going to use it. So it's as simple as you can lay it on the counter, you can do it however, I just want you to be able to see. Stick a piece of tape. You can use scotch tape, masking tape, washi tape, whatever you have that's sticky. Get that sucker centered the way you want it. Wrap it around. Tape it down. And then trim it. Now, sometimes I don't trim it until after I'm completely done. It just depends on how careful I'm being with the length of ribbon. This one I had a whole roll of and I did it that way to show you. Now, what I do sometimes if I have them handy is I'll grab a glue dot. You can use your art glitter glue. You can use glue dots. The old dog clearly needs a drink of water. You can use whatever you want, and I'll take a glue dot and I'm just going to stick it right down here in the middle. Probably won't show one single bit. Might show a little. If it does, we'll put something over it. Okay, so that shows a little because I put some pressure down on it. That's fine. I don't care. If I had thought about it, I could have put it like right there and covered it. Art glitter glue usually doesn't show, but I just didn't have the patience for it while I'm trying to show you. Remember that this is going to go on your card base, so it is perfectly fine if your flower sticks off a little tiny bit. In fact, that's a little bit fun. Your flag could stick out on this side. You can use the whole thing. You don't have to stay within the bounds of your printed papers or my mint color here. See that? You can kind of scooch it however you want and make it work. Now, we are supposed to be crafting and relaxing here, not overthinking and over-evaluating, and you're learning. So grab your glue, stick that sucker down. That's fine. Put some glue on the back. I am over exaggerating the speed at which I do this just because I'm trying to make the point to you to not overthink things, okay? It'll turn out great. It's a giant sparkly flower. How could it not? And then it would sit right there and we have a finished card, okay? You could, I would for sure, take a bunch of jewels and bling maybe. These I got from Creative Gigi and Happy Mail and I love them. You could just take some of these and scatter them around. You could use jewels, anything you have, okay? To add some more interest, you could put some on the flag, whatever you like. I'm going to set that one aside and I'm going to show you the next one. I'll be honest with you, this is a little bit of a stretch for me because, well, you guys know pink is not my jam, okay? It just isn't. And I get that it is for some people. Now my wreaths, neither one of these papers are directional, so it doesn't matter which way I cut them. So I'm just going to make sure that I cut it down to 5 inches. So I keep my strip of paper. Then I'm going to cut it to 2.5 because I want my wreaths to be the big paper. Okay, but as I was saying, this is a lot of pink for me, and you'll notice these two papers they're not great together, I don't think. But the point I'm trying to make here, and the reason I'm going to assemble it that way for you, is because when you look at things in phases, when you look at the one piece of paper or the one bow or the one button, you have a tendency to overthink it. And you need to think like this. You need to think how it all comes together. This piece of foil right here that I used on this flower, this was my friend Noni's trash from a foil project that she had, and she gave it to me for art journaling or whatever. I ran it through the die cut machine and it's gorgeous. Sometimes you look at something too specifically and you just need to roll with it to have some fun. Okay, I was thinking I would like the wreaths up here just to show you the difference, right? On that one we used the big pattern down below. It's also funny too, if you think about it, I'm not a giant fan of cuckoo clocks. I'm really not. I mean, I don't have an attachment to them, but look how little they show when I'm done with the card. If I loved cuckoo clocks, I probably would have assembled this differently. So even if you have a paper that you don't love, but somebody gave it to you, maybe you're a new crafter, use it, roll with it, put it together. My goal here is to inspire new card makers so that you're not afraid. It's not to teach you to measure. It's to really help you find some fun and creativity. Let me put it to you this way. Most of the paper you bought, you like the paper. So if you like it, then you'll probably like cards made with it, and you just need to be a little bit kinder to yourself. Okay, one thing I haven't talked about, when you're assembling your cards, look at the top edge, because most of the time, that's the part that the person's going to see. It's really hard because my camera mounts in the way. There we go. But look at the top edge. That's the one that needs to be lined up. I'll show you something in a minute. Okay, I'm going to put this down. On this one, yeah, it's this one. I lined up the top edge right here beautifully. This piece was too long, so then I took my scissors and kind of cut it because there was a big chunk right there. Now, nobody will notice. So just line up your top edge. Okay, so here's my wreaths. And this one down here. And I could have, if I hadn't glued this down, I could show you. I could kind of do the same thing. I really don't have any more embellishments prepped, you guys. If I'm going to do this series, I need to have a lot of flowers and blings and things sitting here. I could take this and put it across. Now this one has beads and a bunch of texture. This one I would not try and wrap around the paper like I would with ribbon or washi. I would just cut this one a little shorter and leave it on the front. It is cream colored and the paper itself is white, but it goes with this kind of formal style. So I'm going to chunk a piece of this off and I'm going to leave it here and see if I like it. And the way I would probably do this one was I would lay it across that seam. I also think I have some lace. I'm just trying to give you ideas. Okay. It's my personal style. I typically don't mix white and cream together, but because this is what I have, I might. Look at how cute that would be. Oh, I'm doing that. Look at me being all girly. So those of you who have a lot of shabby chic stuff, you can make shabby chic cards. You can use fabric in cards. You can do all kinds of stuff. This one, the wreaths and this floral are just, they're so elegant that I think this would be pretty fun. And look, I turned it this way. This card, we don't have any directional paper. We haven't committed to anything. You can even change your mind while you're making it. Is it a horizontal card? Ooh, I kind of like it this way. And then I could put my sentiment in something darker and kind of cover up some of this white to make this pop better. Does that make sense? So if you don't have directional papers, you're not committed and you can change your mind as you go. Yeah, I think I like it this way. I think this is the way I would do it. So this is the same exact template that we used last time. Same measurements and everything. We're just turning it horizontal. As you're looking at your papers, choose the one that you like. I like the stripes. That one's fine, but I have lots of black and white papers. That's not really the point of Splendor. Don't be shy about layering things and mixing and matching. Try these out. Don't forget to tag me or share them in a video and let me know so I can see how you're doing. I will be putting together some more templates using completely different measurements and stuff soon. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.